Greetings, Gunslinger Posse, and welcome to Branded for April 16th, 2025. I'm your host, Ralph Judkins. Alongside me is Randy Carroll, and over here is Coach Johnson, although Coach Johnson's not a host tonight. That was your cue to say something if you wanted to, Coach.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Remember to like, sponsor, subscribe, all that other good social media stuff before we get started. A show brought to you by South Texas Spine and Surgical Hospital, all about the San Antonio Gunslingers. All right, well, let's go ahead and get started, Randy, with our first quarter.
Yeah, and can I just say right off the bat, this is a perfect place to do this. We're like Smoky Moe's barbecue. And so if you see me like drifting off every now and then, I'm like looking at the desserts over there in that dessert rack. So it's not me like going into a daze. It's just like a food thing.
Yeah. You could be intoxicated by the smell of barbecue too.
Yeah.
That hits you outside the door.
Yeah. If you're out in the area, we're at Smoky Moe's. This is the one on Loop 410, close to Military.
Near Calabria.
Yeah.
Just further south of Calabria.
Hey, just look it up. You can go online. You can Google it if you want to stop in and heckle us or eat a dessert in front of me.
Yes,
mock us,
please mock us.
You can do that.
Mock us, yes.
Oh man, I got to tell you what. Speaking of desserts and sweet things, I have been like a kid in a candy store since I became a part of the ownership group with the San Antonio Gunslingers. I've had so much fun learning some of the inner workings of a game that I've only seen on the outside. And it has been eye-opening. It's been fun. I've created a monster with my wife because she wants to go to every single game, and we were at the first home game, the first away game in San Jose. I said, hey, I think it'll work out if we go over and make it over there for that. Well, then she was like, are we going to go to Phoenix? The next game? Okay, yeah, we can do that. And after we did that, I said, okay, this next game's in Tulsa. We should take a break. We'll just take a break. We won't go. And then it was like, it wasn't long.
Guess who's going to Tulsa?
Yeah. She's like, hey, listen, I think I looked up flights. I think we'll make it. And there's a good hotel nearby. And I think we can take the boys with us. And I'm like, okay, I guess here we go. Maybe we're going to make every single game this season. I'm not sure. That's what it's looking like. But we're having a great time. We really are. Love the game. Love the players. Love the coaches. Love the passion that everyone shows. And it's been fun going into these different arenas and facilities, seeing the fans, learning more about the indoor football league and what's happening all around the country with it. It's just been a blast.
Yeah, been great to see you there. It really has. It's surprised because of course we don't know your schedule and what you have going on, but to see you show up, it's awesome. It's great to see you guys there.
Yeah, and it's fun because they actually give us all access passes. And I figured it out why they do is they don't know. See, if like I was here, they would go, that guy doesn't get an all access. But since I'm at a different place,
and they don't know you very well.
Yeah, they don't know me. They just let me go in. No, but Coach Johnson, it's always fun to see you guys when we show up and see you. Hey, there's somebody from home.
Yeah, exactly.
That made it.
And to have you guys around and get an actual chance, like you said, to see it firsthand. I think this is the first time because I heard you talk about it. Talk about their fans right up on our bench and some of the interactions that we have going on there. It's very interesting, very interesting.
Yeah,
and welcome.
I heckle back.
Okay.
I made sure on that. Let's see the San Jose game, the Bay Area Panthers. In that game, they were really heckling our quarterback, Malik. Malik's got the history with Netflix, and the Last Chance U deal. And so this one guy, he kept, and his name was Carlos.
I made remember the name, huh?
Yeah, I made sure I met him because I want to.
We're taking names. The kicking ass comes later.
He was kind of like the lead guy from the fans for Bay Area, and so I made sure I met him and talked to him a little bit. And he goes, "Well, I get pretty mouthy in the game, so don't get upset or anything." I said, "I won't get upset." And so, he's yelling out at Malik. He's yelling, "Hey, Netflix and chill, Netflix and chill." And right after that, Malik throws a touchdown, and I stood up and as loud as I could, I yelled, "Hey, Carlos, chill on that." And so, and of course, the rest of his crowd over there, like, "Ooh."
Yeah, I don't think you want me to go to these games because my response to that would be to look at Claw and say, this is the mascot most likely to be associated with the phrase consenting adults. I'll just leave you with a visual. Coach, do you like having an owner that's available to basically screen that when you're on the road, that if there's something going on that can speak owner to management level if things aren't right, as opposed to taking time away from you or the head coach to sort something out? Is that at least a benefit to you?
Any benefits that we can get is accepted.
Okay.
So,
because I think that's one of the big things that would be nice to have, because y'all are managing players and trying to run a game and win a football game.
Yeah.
You don't have time to deal with if there's a problem with X that's not necessarily a football X. Having that might be handy.
Like I said, anything helps in that situation. Especially with guys. The situation we had, guys going down and all the injuries. Your mind's all over the place. You're trying to figure out who can play where and who you can teach in the next few minutes. To be able to help us out here because we are in a jam and. That's where my mind pretty much stayed the whole time, was trying to make sure we figure out a way to win this thing.
I was going to say, Ralph, talking about me being the kid in the candy store and getting to see things I hadn't seen before. That's been a big deal. Is the away games that we've gone to? We're sitting right next to the team and the coaches, so we're hearing what's going on. Not only are we seeing what's happening on the playing field, but we're seeing how it's being dealt with and how players and coaches are reacting to it. And that's been eye-opening and really entertaining in a lot of ways, too.
Well, I find it a little scary when you think about it, that the coordinator calls the play. The play is translated into a series of alphanumeric signals that is sent out onto the field in the hands of the quarterback or whoever brings it out. That play is brought out, spoken into the huddle as a series of alphanumeric symbols telling everybody, all 8 guys, exactly what they need to do in order to make that play a success. And that all that happens in under 40 seconds every single time is pretty freaking amazing and incredibly complex. Are you ever in awe of that at any moment while doing this, or is it just routine for you now?
I've always been in awe of that because I wrote something about that in college, of talking about the huddle. That's where the most important stuff is going on. Those few seconds, you're getting all the information that you need, and everybody's else is not paying attention. They're drinking their beer. They're doing it. And in that little 30, 40 seconds, we're getting all the information that we need to go out and execute. And it really is amazing. You look back on it as a retired player. I look back on it and it's pretty cool, but nobody pays attention.
No.
That's where the most important. Exactly.
Well,
that's
you can
the most
certainly
important
fail there.
Yeah.
You can't succeed there. You can't score there, but you can certainly give yourself no chance of success in those moments from the time. And the coordinator's got to pick whoever's calling the play has to pick the right play based on information available. It's their best guess as what is going to work. Sometimes they're wrong, sometimes they're right, but all of it depends on that execution. Yes. And sometimes your players can just bail you out of a bad call, and sometimes they have no chance, but they have to go out there and execute it with all their heart.
Yeah, all out of that little huddle when nobody's listening.
Yep. Yep.
By the way, a reminder again, we're at Smoky Moe's Barbecue on Loop 410 out near Military. So if you're in the area, maybe you're watching on your phone in the car or the truck right now, swing on by here. Have a beer with Coach over there. He's drinking one right now. I didn't want to drink one because I didn't want to be on the
Talking about Coach
You're making
Fuller
you
off
feel
camera.
guilty. You're making you feel guilty.
Lori Lerma says, "Hey, Coach." I think she's referring to you, Coach Jay. And Mark Yamaguchi has a question or a comment for Coach, and we'll wait till the third quarter to share that with him. I'll just flag that one for now. Any more before we get into some serious football questions with Coach in the second quarter?
No, I don't think so. Let's take a break for our sponsors. Let's pay the bills,
Absolutely,
as they say.
I'm going to go look at some of this brisket over here.
Oh no, I gotta have you here for the second quarter.
Can you bring me a dessert, Coach?
We've got stage managers and the owner of Smoky Moe's in attendance here, so please do come on out. Brandon is sponsored by South Texas Spine and Surgical Hospital, a tradition of excellence and a legacy of caring. And we'll be back with the second quarter in just a moment.
For generations, the family recipes at Carrabba's Italian Grill have been bringing people together. From the sweet smell of our scratch-made sauce to our rich layers of lasagna, we believe food made with love leads to tables filled with laughter. Dine with us or order out at carrabbas.com.
Dude, I'm fixing to set that on the corner here in a minute. You ain't got blood in your hands. That means you ain't having fun. This is what it's come back to, yeah. Trouble under these neon lights. A drink and doubles, keep the change on the ice. I'm on that honky tonk high, dancing with the devil tonight. Holding another and another and another and one more after that. Yeah, trouble. Under these neon
And welcome back to Brandon for the second quarter as we continue our discussion with Coach Johnson here. Did have Tina Myers Haddad say hi, fellas. She's back in Virginia.
Hey, what's going on?
And we didn't want to miss, again, mentioning Lori Lerma Complete Care being a sponsor of the show, saying hi to Coach.
Hey.
And Coach, I guess we'd all like to hear the impressions of you in that game, because we all saw the game. We've all had our reactions about the game. And I know it's past the 24 hours and all that, but what do you want to tell us about that game and your experiences in it?
Well, I tell you what, I'm very proud of the way that a lot of the guys responded. Again, we had a couple injuries and a couple situations where guys were out of the game. I really like the way that the team responded. They really stepped up. Guys are really anxious to go do things that they hadn't had a chance to really practice. You know, Tucker, exactly.
Haven't done since middle school, perhaps?
Exactly. Tucker got an opportunity to play defensive line. And
what a job he did. He literally stopped the momentum of a guy running in,
He
slowed him up
actually
enough.
had to play, yeah.
3 other guys came in, and he cleaned it up.
Yeah.
He threw the guy down. It's like, have we been playing this guy on the wrong side of the ball? He's a freaking beast.
Yeah, that's what really stuck out of my head, because again, like we talked about before, that was my main concern, trying to figure out a way to put this together to give us an opportunity to win, and for those guys to step up the way they did. And, like I said, like kids again out there just playing football and having a great time. I really, really like the way that they responded.
So I think people watching probably saw the injuries. Some of them showed up. Some people were saying that they didn't even see some of the stuff on the broadcast.
Yeah.
What's going on with the injuries? How are our players doing?
What can you tell us?
Well, I know that a couple of Achilles, so that's never a good thing. And I'm just going to leave it at that. That's really had some young guys that we thought that were going to be very special, and have those guys go down. It's tough. But again, the guys responded in a great way and stepped up and did some things they hadn't done in a while. And like I said, I was proud of the way that they responded.
And I was going to say the same thing too. I was watching the chaos of all of that when you're trying to figure out, oh my gosh, we lost another person.
Yeah.
We don't really have a sub. Who's going to be the person to step up to fill that gap? And like you said, Tucker.
Yeah.
What he's over there like. Anybody ask him how you doing? Oh, I'm doing fine. I'm always doing fine. I'll go.
And I go to look at him one time, because he's going both ways, and I turn and look at him, and I'm about to open my mouth. He's, Coach, I don't get tired.
That's exactly what he
said. Okay. I was about to check and see if you were tired.
Okay.
I guess not.
That's the quote. That's the quote of the game right there, Coach. I don't get tired.
I don't get tired.
There it is. There it absolutely is. And the good news in all this, or one of the reason why I think we were as successful as we was, is because of you. Because you are the line coach for both sides. You're out there drilling both. They all do warm-ups together. They all work together. They all do walkthrough and install together. And so if there's a student out there of the game on the other side of the ball on offense, and they kind of have a clue what the defense is trying to do, and even though they've never had to do it, they've had it done to them, so they might have a clue what the technique is like, and they're all skilled in hand fighting, and you're the guy who keeps them up to speed on that.
And again, it's great that we get an opportunity to work together and to make that happen, because when I'm coaching the offensive guy, the defensive guy gets to hear all the secrets, all the tricks, and vice versa, the same way. So that's why I think it's great to have an opportunity for those guys to be able to sit in and listen to the other side, because when you're teaching, it's almost like talking out of both sides of your neck. I'm teaching this guy how to beat this guy, but I'm also teaching this guy how to beat that same guy. But it all comes together easily, because you get an opportunity to sit back and say, hey, this is what he's teaching this guy. Oh, this is how he's teaching him to beat me, so I have to do this. So I think it's one of the great experiences about being able to coach both sides of the ball, because guys get an opportunity to learn things, and you're not directly talking to them, but they get to hear like, oh, okay, that's why.
But
that
that's a
happens.
professional athlete.
Yeah.
That's a profession that's serious about their job. They're paying attention to learn, because they never know. They might just learn something. It might just make them better.
Yeah.
And what do you know? Imagine, if you will, a different scenario where we have, 14 coaches, like at a certain other team I could mention. And there's an offensive line coach and a defensive line coach. And what if we had been that the whole time? We would have been a shambles in that situation if we had split and had specialists on offense and defense side of the line. Wouldn't you think?
It wouldn't have been. It wouldn't have been as easy as I made it.
Yeah.
It wasn't been as easy as I made it look. But
yes,
no.
you did. Yes, you did. Hey, Coach, take your victory lap, man. Because really, seriously, we were in that game. It was never until really, really, really late in the game. It was never beyond the reach. It was never out of the possible. Everyone on the field knew that on both sides of the ball, that until it wasn't, it was still possible. And our guys, even though brutally attrited, were still giving the IFL champions a freaking game, all that they could freaking handle. And oh, by the way, we broke the spread. Not that matters. It's no consolation whatsoever, but we did far better than we were expected to do.
I have no idea what that means, but okay.
All right. Well, I think we were 8.5 underdogs, and we didn't lose by 8.5 or more. So if you took the over on that, if you took
And that's called a
them
what
and the
again?
points,
That's called what again?
well, that's the spread.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and so if you didn't take the money line, you lost, and we beat you.
For me, and Coach, the spread is something you put on a sandwich.
Right.
Exactly.
It's not terrible.
Exactly. I had no idea.
I got a question for you, Coach. Just from a fan's perspective, I always get frustrated in any sport when the refereeing is subjective.
Yeah.
And I know it appears to me that there's a lot of subjectiveness in the holding calls. And I understand, they probably don't want to slow the game down by calling a bunch of holding, but it happens a lot. How do you deal with that? How do you teach the players to deal with that?
Well, I've had the experience of going through it myself, so I understand how to navigate that situation. And again, you just have to keep playing. You just have to keep playing. Eventually, they will see it. Eventually, they will call it. But as a player, coaches coach, players play, officials officiate.
Yeah.
You have to play. No matter how they officiate, you still have to play.
Yeah, agreed.
And that's the approach that I think you have to be able to let some of these things go and continue to move forward.
Does it do any good to tell the ref, hey, give me a break on this guy? He's wrapping me up every time.
We tried that last week and it didn't work.
Yeah, it seemed like those conversations with the officials only worked one way. In that game last week.
Yeah. It was a tough deal.
Well, I'll tell you, on a certain pass interference call, I was thinking of something that the head of officiating often says in his videos. If you think you saw a foul, you didn't see a foul. So if you're going to wait 3 seconds before you throw a pass interference foul, you actually didn't see a foul. I'm just saying that's what the head of officials said.
And yeah, that's a weird situation to say, because again, it was literally 3-4 seconds, and he's and then coach comes out and start yelling at him, and he throws it on the ground. It's like,
what did the coach say?
Don't you know we can see you?
Yeah,
we see what's going on. What? I don't know.
I remember what I said. I said, "Bull."
No, that's right.
Or
That's
words to that effect.
Yes, exactly.
Because it's a family show. We'll keep it there.
Oh goodness. Let's not talk more. Let's not talk more about the officiating.
Okay.
I think we should take a break.
Okay.
And come back, and then we'll let Coach Fuller dance around on these questions.
Yeah.
Do you have any questions you want me to ask him when he comes up here?
No.
You have nothing you want me to put him on the spot with?
No.
Okay.
No.
You're a good assistant coach. You really are. You really are. You're a good teammate, coach. It's big Coach Johnson with us for the second quarter. We'll be back with the head coach when we return. You're watching Branded, brought to you by South Texas Spine and Surgical Hospital.
All right, team, huddle up. Just like in surgery, we need precision and teamwork. Trust me, just like on the field, if we stick to the playbook, we'll achieve excellence.
Coach, are you sure about this?
We've trained for this. We're experts. The San Antonio Gunslingers and South Texas Spine and Surgical Hospital and Outpatient Center, where precision meets performance.
Dependability. It's expected by our customers, and it's demanded by me. I personally guarantee the certified techs we send to your home and the equipment we install are dependable. John Wayne's American Pride comfort systems are designed specifically for San Antonio's extreme heat and humidity and come with a lifetime warranty. For comfort you can depend on, call John Wayne today.
John Wayne Service Company is a proud sponsor of the San Antonio Gunslingers.
And welcome back to Branded. We bring to the stage the man himself, head coach, Coach Fuller. Wanted to apologize for those that are watching. If it looks like we're a little pixelated, a little granulated, well, we are. Instead of our usual brilliant 1K 1080p, we're coming at you at 360. I know, 360, not even 720, because we're kind of on a razor's edge here as far as Wi-Fi. But you don't turn in for how we look, do you? No. You tune in for things like Coach Fuller telling us about the game. Randy? Randy?
I tell you, I told
you're not
you.
supposed to eat on camera.
I told you it was going to be a problem. We're here, we're Smoky Moe's, and I had, a barbecue plate before the show started, and we're sitting here, and we're literally right across from the desserts. I couldn't take it anymore. On the break, I got, look at that. Can you see that? That's like a banana pudding.
Hold on.
That's called twisting his rubber arm.
Hold it up here.
You're right there. Can you zoom in on it?
Yes.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, look at that right there. Banana pudding or nanner pudding, depending on how you want to call it.
And we'll back that back out. There we
Smoky
go.
Moe's, good stuff. Not only the barbecue, the desserts are good too.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, there was that cinematographic zoom I just pulled on there. Yeah, that was not pretty. But Mark Yamaguchi says yum. Mark Yamaguchi also said the word you were looking for was Bolshevik. And apparently Mark is into set design and set dressing and says somebody needs to put a hat on Ralph. Yes, Jen here told me. They told me
the sun has gone down though.
If only somebody gave me a Smoky Moe's hat, if there was such a thing. No such luck. Okay, Coach.
Yes, sir.
Third quarter.
Yes, sir.
This is why we do this show.
Well, it's nice.
Because I'm not a football guy. I can't really talk football like you can talk football. Go ahead and talk whatever football you want to talk. Your perception, your thoughts on this game. And if you're tired of that, what's going to happen in Tulsa? Whatever you want to tell us.
Well, going back to the last game, if that's what you're talking about, it's just a tough game. It was a game of inches. A lot of things happened in that game. I think we were with some injuries that kind of affected the way we played defensively. Losing Ellison was a big issue in the middle.
It opened up the floodgates for them to run.
Well, yeah, it's a tough situation. You don't have your nose guard, you don't have your linebacker. I mean, anybody's going to struggle in that situation. But we did have guys step up, and we had some guys who were enthusiastic about stepping up and did the best they could in the situation. We had guys playing out of place. We had linemen playing defense, which, is not the best thing. But they gave it their all. They kept pushing. It was just a game where some of the mistakes or some of them injuries, affected us. We weren't able to stop the run, which in turn kept possessions down, which in turn kept our offense off the field, so we couldn't score as many points. So, it was a tough deal. But the one thing I'm happy about is the way the guys fought and the way the guys handled business as far as continuing to fight, But anytime you're in that kind of situation and you can kind of, puzzle it together and still come out in the game and possibly have a chance to win. I'm proud of that.
And I'll tell you, I want to spotlight one player in particular and one play that he made. Hassan Black came in, and he was called to run on what would have been an illegal blitz last year. He ran outside of the left side. Everyone was basically slightly blocking into the gap to the right. So he took a further route out and still got to Dalton Sneed before Dalton could make a good throw, and it looked like Dalton Sneed threw a bad pass. What he had done is disrupted Dalton Sneed's timing so badly with his receiver that he threw a ball that just fell on the ground.
Right.
Because the person who was there didn't get there faster than Hassan Black did. And Hassan Black did that because he had to step up. He had to be the guy, and he wanted to show everyone else on that defensive squad that he was worthy of being there and was a good teammate. And I don't know if you remember the play, but I saw that and said, he was moving so fast. He got there on an outside blitz faster than he could have going through the A gap. He got there faster than anyone expected, including Dalton Sneed and the entire offense. And in that moment, it's like, this kid, I love him.
Well, the key to that, is when you're rushing the passer in that kind of situation, we always tell the D lineman or a linebacker in his situation not to jump, just to continually run at them, and force them to have to get rid of the ball. You see a lot of times on Sundays, Saturdays, where quarterbacks do the little pump fake and then run around you.
That's the guy's lost his feeding. He's up in the air.
Right.
Ole.
And he out leverages them. But no, Hassan did a good job of continuing at his angle and continuing to take up space, which in turn forced a bad throw.
And the entire secondary. The reason why they were running is I think I'm not sure if Dalton only had 3 or 2 completions in the entire second half. They had an entire series through 4 passes, no completions, had only 1 completion, I want to say, the rest of the way on 3 passes. It was all runs. Well, 1 because it was open, but when they tried to pass, it didn't happen.
Yeah, our secondary's been doing a very good job. Yeah, they're really, thing I like, they're really communicating, they're really trying to understand what each other has to do. The best thing you could do as a DB is know everybody's job. Then it makes your job a lot easier. So I think they're got a good idea of what we want to do in the secondary. They've been very good from the beginning of the season. So hopefully they'll improve and continue to get better as things go on.
And I got to talk a little special teams too.
Yes.
Everyone loves the thicker kicker.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone loves that he is now currently tied for 2 Rouges. Oh, wait, or is it 2? I don't know if there's 2 Rouges.
He has 2 Rouges.
And Kali Rashad.
Yes.
In one game, his first game, is currently tied for the lead of kickoff returns, 4 touchdowns in one game.
But you knew that was going to happen. Kali is dynamic. He's a dynamic player. When you look at a roster and you're thinking about who you suit up on Saturdays, and you got your 21-man roster, you want weapons. I think the more weapons you have, the more chance you have to win. And anytime you kick the ball to Kali, it's a problem.
Yes.
And you got to give props to the return team as well, because we got bodies on bodies. We blocked guys, and it only takes a minute for him to bust through. And then special teams wise, as far as kicking, Austin Upshaw, running down, making plays. Page, the whole secondary linebacking crew really do a great job of tackling inside the 10. I think we're doing a way better job than we did last season in doing that.
Absolutely. And then we gave up balls to the 25 and beyond far more often. Now, it wasn't just because we were always going for deuce.
Right.
It was even when we weren't getting those body on, not as consistently as we are this year.
Well,
and Page, oh my goodness, how many tackles does he have inside the 10, inside the 5?
Yeah, I got a bunch now, but kickoff teams are want.
Yeah.
It's a 1-2 thing, you got to want to go down there and make some noise, and I tell them before the games, special teams be special. You got to take advantage of special teams, because you don't realize how many plays are special teams plays, and if you're taking off some of them plays, you know, you're cheating yourself, you're cheating your team.
Well, Dixon was in there on that one that we got inside the 10
Mm-hmm.
that if it had bounced a little more,
Yeah.
might have been a potential recovery.
Yep.
Our kicker, I will add, I don't know how good this guy is. I really
Mhm.
don't know. Is he a trick kicker and we just don't know it? Because that one that he floated out to the 25,
Mhm.
I'm a math guy. So I look at geometry and the gap that he had to lob that into, because it was supposed to be over the heads, beyond the reach of the front line,
Yeah.
but just in front of the up man. So it hit the ground and he had to consider, holy crap, they're going to come and eat my lunch. I better handle this. I might mishandle it because I'm not quite ready for that. He just got lucky that it floated, I don't know, a half a degree too far long. And if it had fallen in that gap, we were coming at it with, the old expression is, a bone in our, or a knife in our teeth. We were coming at him for the kill at that point.
Right.
And that's why he just flopped on the ground and didn't try to return that.
Right. I mean, you know, you just want to have a chance.
Right.
You know, you the worst thing you could do is just kick a terrible kick and not even give yourself a chance. So you just want to have a chance at the ball. You know, we got guys coming down trying to do a little bit of head hunting, and if you kick a very good kick or an adequate kick, it's still going to cause problems.
Right. And we saw that over and over, and that is definitely another weapon. Okay, getting some comments in. First of all, well, let's get the comment here. Leonardo Lamas saying favorite player on the planet, Kali Rashad, number 5. There was a compliment back here from Mark Yamaguchi. Coach Fuller, we're all behind you. What, as a fan, can we do to help take some of the pressure off of you?
Come out and support us. You know, come out and support us. Tell your family, tell your friends, tell a neighbor, tell the dog catcher, tell whoever you can to come out and come see us play. You know, it's something, and Randy could say this, you know, when we would go to Arizona, it's something to have your fan base there. It really causes problems for a visiting team. So, you know, as many people as we can get out and fill that arena, it's going to help us out tremendously.
Is it bad that when you asked that question, Ralph, the first thing I thought of is they could pull a Tanya Harding? You know, like,
okay,
go ahead with the opposing team, you know, take out a knee here and there.
Go ahead and look up the movie I, Tanya, and watch it. It's highly entertaining, and we'll take you on a blast to your past to know what Randy's talking about. We're just not going to explain the rest of it
What's
here.
funny about that is Tanya Harding lives about 20 minutes from me.
Oh, really?
If you ever see her, give her one of these from me.
Yes.
Man, what a story. Okay, you're in the hot seat now. So Mark Yamaguchi, in addition to comments about the glare coming off my head, folks, the sun is going down. You should notice less of the glare coming in from the sunlight outside. It's all just natural light. Okay, so Mark Yamaguchi out of Houston, one of our super fans, says, how are we going to address the penalties and turnovers? We didn't that, I'm not sure what he's saying here. We didn't that sloppy, and to me, it just looks like a timing error. I think he's referring to the fumble that Henry had or handoff to Harper, which, you know, when it comes to fumbles, we were 0 for 3 in this game. And I've got something that might make you mad if I tell you, so I won't tell you on the air. I already told Coach Johnson off the air, but on that issue, Coach, what do you want to say?
Well, you always want to win the turnover battle, you know. Some things are unfortunate. We had a high snap on that play, and then we just tried to make a play, and it didn't happen. We had a interception before half that was tough.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, we had chances at the ball on the opposite side, on the defensive side, that, you know, we didn't take advantage of. So it's a game of inches, but you do want to win the turnover battle. We address turnovers every day. It's not like you go out there and say, hey, let's turn the ball over, you know? So, you know, we address them issues every single day. We talk about ball security. We talk about not giving the team an extra chance to, you know, get points on you, you know, but I also think that some of it is timing. Some of it is, you know, getting back to what we really want to do. You know, Kali, Naquan being in there, new. We had to shuffle some guys. Our center was playing nose, you know, so he's, you know, he had a high snap. So there's a lot more that goes into it.
So props to Quan Stallworth. It was Quan Stallworth who was snapping, right?
Yes. So, you know, there's a lot that goes into it. You know, the turnovers that really upset me are the ones that are like before the half, you know, things where they can leapfrog you and take over and take over the game. All turnovers are bad, but the ones before the half are the ones you got when you got a chance to score are really tough to deal with. So, you know, we address it every day, and it has to get better.
And that was, that was just harsh.
Sitting
And
back.
he three lead changes in that second quarter.
Yeah.
And okay, so we didn't go in a score up, we didn't go ahead in the half, but that didn't stop us.
No,
that did not freaking stop us, and the guys didn't quit. I'm sorry. I keep looking down at the banana pudding and making sure.
Leave my banana pudding
Well, it's
alone,
your banana
buddy.
pudding, but I didn't know
about
if
to
you were
be
going.
a rumble for the pudding.
I felt like I was carrying the show here because I wanted to give you as much time as possible.
You know, you're talking about the turnovers. I think this right here, you just throw that out in the field and let them fight for that.
There'll be a bunch of them.
That would they wouldn't be losing the ball anymore.
No,
They'd fight on the banana pudding.
They might take a nap afterward. Yeah, but they wouldn't lose the ball.
You know, there's a lot more to being a head coach than just calling plays out on the field and game day. There's a lot of stuff that's always going on behind the scenes. You come off a game like last week where you've got players hurt. And you're trying to figure out, okay, we got to move here. We got to maybe we need to sign somebody else.
Yes.
What's going through your head? Where are you looking? How constant is that?
Well, it's 24/7, you know. Matter of fact, after the game, our staff didn't even go to sleep, you know. So we're steady looking at players, steady trying to figure out, you know, who we can fill in here for this person or that person. So you got to constantly be on the grind, you know, each and every day. You know, as a head coach, you're daddy, you're the mentor, you're the psychologist. You know, you got to figure out everything and what makes your players tick, you know, to get the best out of them. So, you know, we're trying to get this thing to a place where we're a little younger, where we got a little more energy, where we get a little bit more local talent. You know, I'd like to see more players from Texas be on our team, you know, but you kind of go and get the players that are out there, you know, and Texas is full of players, so we shouldn't have no problem doing that. And that's kind of what we plan on doing moving forward.
That's like everybody else around the country is looking to Texas for players. We might as well look here too, right?
That's right. That's right. The best place to catch some players.
That's right.
Lori Lerma of Complete Care says that one-handed catch, though.
Well, he does that all the time. You should have seen the 3-finger catch last year. It was one of the most amazing. Yeah, one of the most amazing catches I've ever seen in football. You know, but Naquan is a talent.
Oh, that was his signature move. Yeah. He's always been making incredible catches his entire career on the football field.
Yes.
And on that play in that instance is like, oh, you want to do interference? Oh, you want to assume that the refs ain't going to throw flags with 6 seconds left? Okay, we're going to make a penalty. We're going to run a play that you can't even interfere with. Henry drops little dink ball over the top, no defender anywhere near. Naquan, one hand, defend this.
Yeah,
and that's what that felt like in that moment was, okay, you pass interfere with this, you defend this, because you can't.
Well, most receivers, of course, want the ball, but Naquan is he's a talent. You know, he is really we got a lot of talented receivers, you know, but Naquan does do some things that make you say, whoa, you know, it's kind of like, how do you do that?
I got to tell you, too, I was in the corner there, and I had my phone going. So I have, and it's on the you go to
highlight reel that they released.
Yes, I see. I actually wondered who took that.
The Gunslinger Instagram. That was me. I just happened to roll and grabbed it right there in the corner. So if you want to see that, go to the Gunslingers Instagram and check out that video of that one hit Nooney catch.
You got to see it. Get on that Instagram. Go see Nooney one-handed grab. It's amazing.
We've got 2 questions here so far. Keep them coming if you want to. You can pass on any of these if you don't want to answer them for security reasons. So Quentin Humphrey Sr., who has some skin in this game, that's I think Quentin Humphrey is sort of related to one of our players. So is the scheme to have linemen with a background of playing both sides of the ball going to be in the game plan for the future, Coach?
We always try to cross-train 1 or 2 guys, you know, 1 or 2 guys that have the body type, you know. You don't really recruit that way until you kind of see people move and see their mentalities. You really try to get the best players. And then once you get into camp, you can figure out, well, hey, this guy can do a little bit more than this, a little bit more of that. And so you start cross-training them for these situations.
And that's how you make the team, is
True.
if you can do more than one thing.
Well, that's always been the more you can do.
Right.
You know, the more you can do, the better off you are and the more valuable you are. You know, so you don't go into it looking at this player to cross-train. You kind of go for the best players and then figure out who you can cross-train.
Speaking of a really good player, Philip Higginbotham asking, will Ulrich be back soon?
Yes.
Ulrich will be back soon. There's your answer. No need to elaborate. And moving on, Leonardo Lamas with a comment. We need to get that veteran rule tossed out. Imagine all the talent the IFL would be keeping without it. Good players are going to be the competition because they can't stay with teams.
It's a tough deal, so I can see both sides of it. You know, honestly, I don't like the rule myself. I think you want the best players, no matter what age, how many years they've been in. You know,
want to have the best football.
Yeah. I just think that. You know, you don't see the NFL doing that.
No.
You know, so I think it's up to each coach and staff and each organization then to figure out when is too long for a person to play. You know, and it's a tough deal. I can understand some of the markets can't, handle having all these vets and all this or that. But, I think it's something that needs to be addressed, and looked at seriously. But, it's a tough deal to kind of balance that act with the vet rule, So we're trying to kind of balance it out and try to leave a vet here, a vet there open in case somebody comes free that is just a guy you have to sign.
Right, which has happened, well, a whole bunch of times this year, it seems.
Mm-hmm.
And when it happens, and if you're in a position to take advantage of it, you can.
Right.
And that's good GMing.
And let me just say, at my age and my many years in broadcasting, that's why I hate any kind of veteran rule right there. I'm old, don't want to get kicked out.
Philip Higginbotham adds the vet rule and the delay for giving away a ball on the road. Stupid rules that the IFL needs to get rid of. Philip, you can't take over my show. You have your own. Stay on your own show, okay, buddy? But he did have a good point that he brought up on the Smoking Guns podcast. What if, just saying if, there was a fine instead of a penalty, and the fine was 100% more than the cost of a ball? And that would discourage coaches from letting players. But at the end of the year, it probably all average out that we're really not losing that many balls anyway.
I don't like the rule, period. So, I mean, no matter how much the ball costs, this is supposed to be a fan-friendly game. And it's even better when a opposing team can score a touchdown and give it to a kid. They're going to like it just as much. So,
well, that's a memory they'll have forever.
Right. So I've always
here, kid.
Right. I've always been opposed to that, but I do understand that you could go through a bunch of balls in the game and it's a tough deal to deal with. But that's part of our game is to,
Could we limit the scores? I don't know.
Well, we don't want to do that. No. We don't want to limit their scores, but
right. No, I mean that if anyone gives it away, it's like you had to have scored to give a ball away.
Right.
I don't know.
Well, I think you should do that. I think, when you score a touchdown, it's the excitement of the game.
The moment.
And sometimes that plays for good video, good good TV. You never know what someone's going to do when they score. I
mean, I'm dating myself, and I know both y'all know this. It's a Mean Joe Green moment with a can of Coke.
Right. Exactly. Here, kid, catch.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's that.
So I hope that changes.
Mark Yamaguchi says, absolutely, Coach Fuller. I don't know which thing he was referring to, but all the above.
I'm with you. I'm with you, Mark.
Let's see. Okay, well, this is Chris Weiss. Chris Weiss is a longtime fan. You know him.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because
that's
my
buddy.
Back in Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
He chimes in all the time on the show. Coach, what more, in your opinion, can the league do to help players like TJ Edwards, Naquan, Malik advance to the next level, guys who have been dominating year after year?
Well, your play is going to get you moved. Your play is going to get you moved. I've always said this before. When the NFL is looking, they're gonna find you. You know, they're gonna find you. Some dudes fall through the cracks, but you got to understand that there's so many players coming out each and every year. You know, the worst thing these guys can do is not play. You know, the best thing they could do is play whenever chance they get, and hopefully they play for someone that has their best interests in mind, you know, and wants to help them go forward and move up. And we had that situation here with Rivers, you know, Riverius Rivers, right before a game calls me at 11:30 at night, and he's getting ready to get signed to the UFL.
Oh, that had to hurt.
You know, so, and he's telling me he wants to play, but in my heart of hearts, I can't let him play. You know,
Right.
And when the morning came, I said, we'll talk about it in the morning. He finally came to it and said, you know, you're probably right, because I got more to gain. You know, he told me a story about wanting his, you know, his son and his daughters to say, hey, my daddy played here, my daddy played there, you know, in the NFL. And you don't get them chances to move up like that.
When
so
they
you got
call,
to take them,
you better
you
answer
know,
the phone.
and I don't want guys to play for me forever. You know, I would like guys to play for me and get shots to move up, which in turn we help each other out.
And you got there because
you know, yes,
you taught them what they needed to know.
Right,
to get there.
Right, or I've helped them get there. You
Well,
know,
there's
and
a lot of hands, but
yeah,
yours is one of them.
Yes, that's true. You know, so I say that all the time. You know, I don't want you to play for me forever. I would much rather have you play for me, get me some wins, and then go about and do something bigger and better, because in turn it all looks good for everybody.
Coach, we're going to have to keep I think we're going to have to keep them over into the fourth quarter, because I have questions piling up for you.
Mm-hmm.
So we are ready to take that break, and you finish that banana pudding.
I know I'm gonna.
He better finish it before I snatch
it.
it.
Delay a game over here on.
All right, well,
banana pudding.
Let's move on to the fourth
I can't
quarter when
stop
we
looking.
return. You are watching Branded, brought to you by South Texas Spine and Surgical Hospital. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.
We all need hot water. Some of us need more than others. So it's a good thing that State has a wide range of tough commercial-grade water heaters for your home. From standard models to high-efficiency and tankless models, we've got you covered, no matter where you live, what you do, or who started it. To install a State water heater in your home,
Call John Wayne today or visit us at johnwayne.com.
Welcome to the Vegas.
Must be that time of the year again, where we work hard and we play hard and eat good pizza.
Hey gunslingers, come try Matanga's, voted best pizza in San Antonio. We are family and deeply invested in our community. After this game, come find a Matanga's near you. Guns up, slices up.
Welcome to South Texas Spine and Surgical Hospital, an outpatient center. Step into our operating rooms, where highly skilled surgeons work hand in hand with specialized technicians. Our dedicated team has extensive experience and expertise in spine and surgical procedures. Our commitment to patient safety is unwavering. We understand that your well-being is at the heart of everything we do. South Texas Spine and Surgical Hospital, an outpatient center where expertise, longevity, and state-of-the-art technology come together for your health.
And welcome back to Branded for our fourth quarter, as we hold over Coach Fuller for just one more quarter to keep answering your questions. Keep them coming, folks, and we'll keep talking to Coach. Again, from Chris Weiss, a longtime fan of, well, your work.
Yeah.
Certainly. How many picks would you have had, Coach, in a 16 game if you were still playing in the IFL back in the day?
Oh, Lord. I don't want to answer that question like that, but I was a box safety, so I was in the box playing the run most of the time. I couldn't run with some of these fast receivers, Naquans, the Gibbons,
So you'd
the
have been a jack?
Collies. I would have been a linebacker / jack,
Okay.
strong safety type. Filling the box, making tackles. That was my forte.
Leonardo Lamas asked, like the Kali Rashad double backflip, you happy with that one, Coach? Well,
Hey, I like the backflip, but even better, you got to watch the handshake between Gibbons and Kali after that. That was the best thing about it. The backflip, then the handshake.
They did the whole thing.
Yeah.
They did it was pure joy.
It was.
It was pure joy.
We had a good laugh the other day in film because we slowed it down and watched their little dance. It was hilarious.
That's awesome.
Quentin Humphreys back again saying, so when it comes to local talent, are you looking for this year or more for the future of the gunslinger? Or I guess, are we looking right now at local talent?
We're looking every day. We just signed a local talent. I don't know. Some people may know. I think he went to Warren. Is it Warren?
Warren Warriors.
Yeah.
Warren High School.
Eric
Rasco.
Eric Rasco, linebacker. Went to Angelo State, 2-time All-American. He's from San Antonio. He has family here. So it's just nice to have guys like that around, who wanted to come back to San Diego and play ball. He had a chance to go to another team in our league.
Oh, you mean he's coming back to San Antonio? He wanted to go to San Diego, but came to San Antonio?
No, he wanted to come to He's from San Antonio.
Oh, from San Antonio.
Yeah, so he wanted to come back home,
Right.
And he had a chance to go to another IFL team, but he chose us, and, I'm happy for it.
Excellent. Jordan Stubing, we know that name, says, Coach Fuller, were there moments you wanted to throw the red flag, but didn't? If so, what stopped you?
There's always moments when you want to throw the red flag, but the big thing is, do you have the view? Do you have the view? Because a lot of teams when you're on the road, they won't show the video up top on the jumbotron.
No,
they
won't.
pause it so the visiting team can't. But when their team has a situation, they'll play it on the jumbotron. So it just really means if we have a look at it, and at that point our system had went out, so we couldn't get any views. So we didn't have our system for part of the game.
Wait a second. When that happened at home, they said both sides,
They do.
made an announcement about that.
We told the ref went and told them. If it happened, I don't know. I have other things to worry about, So, but it is, if our communications go out, they're supposed to stop their communications.
Because that's fair
But
competition.
exactly.
Brian Jeffrey Barton saying, hey, Coach, just wanted to say hi.
Hey, Brian, how you doing? This is one of my favorite mentors. Met him in Richmond, Virginia. He's a pastor. We became really good friends, and now he's a big-time movie star, and he don't call me no more. Okay, but he sends me scripture before every single game since 2000. I want to say 14, 15. He sent me a scripture before every game I've coached. I love him, and I love his beautiful wife, Lori.
Well, thank you, Brian Jeffrey Barton, for becoming a new friend of the show. And we look forward to seeing more comments, and hey, throw some scripture at us too. We'll take it. We'll take it here. We're good with that, right, Randy?
I always take scripture, prayers,
Yes.
whatever.
Yes, he's really good at what he does.
That's awesome.
Well, anything else, Coach? Did you want to add anything more before we wrap it up? Because we're right at an hour.
No, I don't think so. I think we just, are we going to come back and wrap it, or are we going to wrap it right now?
We could come back and wrap it if you want to.
Well, we don't have to. I mean, I just want to summarize by saying banana pudding and Tanya Harding. That's my summary of the.
And I'm gonna tell you, I look forward to Mo. I look forward to having this barbecue every time they bring it to us. What do, Coach? I take 2 of them home, and I stack them up, put them in the refrigerator, and wait till about 11 o'clock at night. Because once I eat it, it's a wrap. I go right
Lights
into that
out.
itis.
Lights out. Lights out.
Smoky Mo's, baby.
Yes, Smoky Mo's. Come on out. Check us out.
Well, I got a feeling we should wrap right here because then Coach can throw the guns up with us at the very end.
I agree. I'm good.
You good with that,
I'm
Coach?
good.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, this wraps up our show for April 16th, 2025, brought to you by South Texas Spine and Surgical Hospital. Make sure you have done all those social media things, like, subscribe, comment, all the other stuff. Leonardo Lamas, last minute suggestion. If the Gunslinger organization is listening, free banana pudding from Smoky Joe's to the first 1,000 fans on April 26th. Smokey Mosey, you hearing that? Free banana pudding to the first 1,000. Okay, they can watch the show. All right, because it helps the brand when you do those things. And always the moment you're all waiting for. And as always, folks, keep your guns up. Good night, everybody.